them. But
Yeah.
they've got a guy called Harmer. South Africa have a guy called Harmer who's one of the best spinners in the world, and he
Right.
ended up with 17 wickets in the
Wow.
series.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
But
the big,
it'll be performance analysed to bits, and things will get tougher for him.
yeah. Oh, well, he's 35, so he's
Oh, okay.
towards the end of his career, but he's
Yeah.
had a long career with Essex. He killed county cricket for a long time.
Okay.
Um, back. But so I remember, well, you're recording it, so I'm not going to say it. But
Just so this is the roundup. Sorry, I didn't
yeah,
want to catch you out, chaps, but because the conversation was so rich, I thought I'd need
yeah,
to start recording.
Yeah.
If that's
yeah.
all right.
Sure.
No,
Yeah.
no,
Just if people think they're tuning into the Ian Renshaw cricket podcast,
Academy.
this is actually the Constraints Collective podcast. So the roundup. So we're definitely going to talk about the Ashes.
Mm.
Um, and we'll it'd be great if we could maybe mention England Rugby Union because
Yes.
something going on exciting there.
Yeah.
And that was it. In the video clip. Sorry, get my words out. That you
Mm.
sent
yeah,
us from Jeff Wilson as well about the All
yeah,
Blacks. That might be an interesting chat. So yeah,
Mm.
this month's roundup. Sorry, did you
Mm.
want to continue with cricket?
Yeah,
no,
so
no,
we're talking at the time of depending on when this roundup actually gets out, makes it out, breaks out.
Today, the 28th, it's going to be hot off the press, Keith.
November, yeah, 28th of
28th
November.
of November. Yeah.
Okay, that's good, good. So yeah, we had a great discussion about cricket and how cricket as a sport, particularly, it's not unique necessarily, but it particularly is very rich in terms of the way the socio-cultural historical constraints, as well as other environmental constraints like the weather conditions, the climate, can affect the performance of the teams and the way the teams play in different continents, because the game is a global phenomenon. And when you play at an international level, it seems very clear that there are different really important demands that are placed on the players when they go to different hubs of cricket, whether that's in England or New Zealand, Australia, South Africa, India, Pakistan. Things are very different there in the way that the game is treated, the way the game evolved, and also the way the game is played as well. So that was a very rich discussion.
yeah.
Yeah, and that was with the members, the website or the
Yeah,
Constraint Collective members
that's
that
right.
this
And
morning. So yeah,
really, the biggest takeaway, really, well, there's a couple of takeaways, isn't there? One is about how do you become adaptable as a player or as a team to be able to play when the environments are so different across the world.
Mm,
You know, there's evidence from golf that people only tend to win on courses similar to the ones that they've grown up with and are familiar with.
mm,
You know, so it's different grasses and different lengths and et cetera, different conditions. Well,
mm,
it's certainly that would be in cricket. The type of pitches that you play on develop your skill sets,
mm,
your action capabilities. And when you then, particularly in international cricket, where you go to different countries, and now there's the speed of the TV and the tours are not the length of tours that they used to be.
yeah,
I remember when I started watching it about 1978, somewhere around about that time, 81 maybe. England had four warm-up games against the
yes,
States before they
yes,
played against the against Australia, and the
yeah.
States put out strong teams. So,
Mm, they did.
like Queensland, particularly at that time, New South Wales, it's almost
Mm,
you like almost playing against the test team. So you're
yeah.
getting stretched and you're beginning to adapt to the environmental constraints. So the pitches are uniquely
Mm,
different, you know, and they differ depending on which part of the country you're in.
yeah.
Um, which is, you know, and a really another important thing, like people say, oh, Indian pitchers do this. Well, India is pretty massive.
Massive. Yeah.
So,
Massive
so
place.
in the north of the country, where it can be quite cold, the
Mm.
pitches are going to be different than in the south, and blah blah blah. Well, it's certainly
Yeah.
like that in Australia. So there's been a big debate about England should have been going to Canberra to play in a pink ball game because the next test is a pink ball day-nighter in Brisbane.
Mm.
Well, the key problem is that Australia won't put that strong a team out. They're playing the Prime Minister's 11. It won't
Yeah. Yeah.
be the bowlers of the quality that will be playing in the test matches. It's, I don't know what the temperature is down there, maybe in the 20s, which may sound hot if you if you're in
24
England
degrees,
at the
but
moment.
cools at night a lot more than it does in
Cold at
Brisbane.
night.
Yeah.
You're probably going to get very low bounce in the pitches.
Mm.
Um, and in Brisbane at the moment, it's 34 degrees. The humidity is about 400%, I think.
Really
It's
affect the behavior of the ball when it's bowled. Very different. In fact, if you had a cynical, conspiracy based, or conspiracy riddled mindset, you might think that asking the opposition to play in Western Australia, very dry, very bouncy pitches in the first game, then asking them to travel 5 hours plane ride away to Brisbane to play in the second game. As you said, stormy conditions, day-night game, not just a day game. But the preparation, here's an opportunity for you to prepare. You can prepare in Canberra, which has got different conditions, again, cooler at night, cooler temperatures. You might say that there were traps being set all over the place by the
well, that's fairly
You
standard to
cynic, you, Keith.
no, I can't help it.
You've got first-hand experience, though.
typically. Typically, the series always starts in Brisbane
Yeah,
because
typically it does. It does.
hard, bouncy pitch,
Mm.
and hot at
Mm.
this time of November. Um,
Humidity, yeah,
Humidity, but this year they've done it differently for probably financial reasons. We've gone to Perth first,
yeah.
but these were the two games I thought England had with their bowling attack. Maybe the pitches suited their bowling attack
Mm.
more than just as much as they do Australia's, because England have a lot of pace in their attack.
They do.
But the batters are undercooked, so the batters have
Yeah,
not adapted really as well as
they are.
they needed to the conditions, and the way that you play here needs to be different than the way you do in England. I saw
Yeah.
a lovely clip with Jimmy Anderson today, actually, and they were pulling apart what Stark did in Perth, and
Mm.
they said he bowled a what we call a lot of wobble seam. So
Mm.
rather than having the seam going down straight, you release it so it wobbles everywhere. Then it
Mm.
moves more off the pitch. It's very difficult to predict. And
Mm.
they said it really worked out very quickly that he could set that up to go across the right-handed batters and nick
Mm.
them off. And he knew
Yes.
that they were going to go in, they were going to try and attack through there, which is just massively high risk. So you've got to
Mm.
look at the risk reward and, the decision making around what you do in those situations. So yes, they want to be positive, they want to be aggressive, but you've
Yeah.
got to you've got to pick your shots as well. But
Well, this
I mean,
is
yeah,
yeah, this is why just going in with a plan and saying we're going to play this plan,
yeah,
without really fully understanding the conditions and
yeah.
getting a feel for the conditions, is not the best approach really. So you've really got to have a sort of a mixture of both approaches. You might have a loose framework or a plan, intentions to play in a certain way, but you've got to pick your moment. Unless you're supremely confident in your players. Now some of the England players are top class, but if they're undercooked, as you said, they've lacked match practice, then you've got to factor that in.
Yeah. It is so unique conditions that like a few of them have never played out here before. So
Mm.
I think they've not for like that. I think the English media have got that wrong. They're right not to go to Canberra
Yes,
because it doesn't
yes.
help them. And
Conditions are very
they're all
different.
yeah, they're already in Brisbane. They arrived on Tuesday. They I saw three of them out playing golf yesterday. It's 34 degrees. They're going to be 4.5 hours you know, trudging around a very wet golf course,
Mm.
getting used to the humidity, getting used to the heat. They're also getting used to the cultural constraint of being in the middle of the city. They stay at the Sofitel in the center of town. They'll be going out for meals. They'll be getting some clever comments from the locals, as you
Yeah, yeah.
so they're getting that's one of the things that they're going to have to be familiar with. And I remember Mark Borden, who's a friend who was the England sports psychologist in 2011. And at that time, Ian Bell was in the team, and Warney he played in the 2005 Ashes, and Warney had called him the Shermanator. Like, how do you get it? So they was getting ready for abuse, and when they got to Perth for their practice game, did a practice game that time. They made him walk round the outfield, around the boundary, to get practice of being abused.
Mm.
And remarkably, he came back and said, nobody abused me. Because at that point in time, the Australian public weren't particularly enamored with their own team.
Was
So
the
they
Okay.
could
bar shut? The
be
bar
just as
shut that
hard
day,
on
was it? Something.
it. But
So
that's saying this cultural difference as well. You're playing a country, not just 11 people.
yeah. So the takeaway this was based around being adaptable and adaptability,
Yeah.
but the real takeaway is if you want to win, you got to be sneaky. Play. So I'm just back in
Completely
the day
against
when
that.
That's the
when
reality.
yeah the kit man at an old football ground would flood the dressing room and turn the
Yeah,
heating off, that
yeah.
sort of
What was the
strategy. Is
what
that
was
what we're
the
saying, Ian?
There was a sports psychologist when they set up the Stadium of Light. I will say it by its correct name rather than its colloquial Newcastle version. Didn't she paint the dressing rooms black? The away dressing rooms were painted black to
Mm.
make it feel uncomfortable for the opposition.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, I mean, England did the same, Martin. Where did they start? Edgbaston. Who've got the most raucous,
exactly.
abuse fans that you could possibly find?
Yeah.
You've got, rather drunk Brummies, Villa fans abusing the what out of the Australian team. So it's no different.
They all do it. I mean, as you say, when you go to a new country in the global calendar to play international matches, I think that differentiates an international player from a national player. The ability to adapt under pressure. And the point, I guess, is related to this discussion is that a lot of that pressure comes from in the form of environmental constraints, social, cultural, historical trends, etc., views of the opposition, views of different countries, but also clearly the climate and weather conditions will affect.
Reminds me of two examples from the past, Keith, where Brian Clough, when managing Nottingham Forest, took them to Millwall, which is renowned as being quite a tough place to go and play and very, confrontational. And he made the players get off the bus 400 meters out or whatever and walk into the stadium. And all the Millwall fans go, "What are you doing?" like that. And
Young
then
man.
young man. And
Yeah.
I think in 1990, England had not won in Rugby Union, had not won in Cardiff since 1963. And it was the intimidation, again, the feeling of being the nation against you, which is quite right. So I can't remember who the coach was at the time. I can see but I can't remember his name. Got the players to do exactly the same. He made them
Yeah.
walk to the ground. So they were,
Sensitizing them to
yeah,
Yeah.
the atmosphere, which is, I mean, that's part of it all, isn't it? When you're talking about performing skill under pressure, a lot of that pressure is emotional, and crowds want to play their part in creating a hostile atmosphere, not making it easy for opposition to perform.
Ryder Cup was a perfect example for the
Yeah, that
European team.
was.
Exactly the same. But
Yeah.
that level of abuse was probably above and beyond what they thought it was going to be.
There's a bit of a
But
red line maybe, but yeah, but that's it. Yeah.
Can we,
yeah,
sorry, Ian,
ah,
could we maybe talk about because you sent a lovely video clip over from an ex-All Black, Jeff Wilson. and he was talking
Dual
about
international. He's a dual international. Do you know that? He played
a
cricket
dual
and
in what league and union.
no proper sport. He played cricket and
Cricket,
union.
Oh, and union.
cricket,
Oh,
yeah,
right. Okay,
yeah.
there we go.
Of course,
Every day's a school day.
yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, fascinating. We actually put it through our social media channels, and it got quite a bit of a response. So essentially, Jeff Wilson, the dual international, was talking about, or I think he posed the question: Have the All Blacks become too structured?
Mm.
Which is a really interesting, this idea of game models and like
Mm.
coaches overcomplicating things, which
Mm.
isn't the All Black way typically. You know, there's
Not
lots of
really.
focus on
But they
autonomy and
certainly,
yeah,
yeah, they certainly look different to previous versions of the All Blacks, where they've been able to. I mean, my perspective, because I lived in New Zealand in the early 2000s, moved there, worked at the University of Otago for a while, and that's where I really learned a lot about rugby because it permeates everything in terms of the media, discussion, etc. And I really enjoyed watching them because they were able to adapt to opponents who were going to put them under pressure and play different types of games. So they could play the sort of organized, structured game if they needed to, but they had individuals who could create chaos and really embrace uncertainty and take it away. They seem to be lacking that second part. This version of the All Blacks, they just don't seem to have enough of that adaptability and variability and innovation and creativity. The structure's not bad, although it probably could be tweaked a bit more. There is something missing, in my view, based on watching previous versions.
I'm with you, Keith, on that because England's got this sort of really fast up and in defence, haven't they?
Yes.
They've got this
Yeah.
very oppressive defence.
Mm.
Well, England of the past played that way as well. But
Mm.
what did the All Blacks do? Well, it's a bit like, well, where's the space? It's out wide.
Yes.
We move the
Yeah.
ball out
Mm.
wide really quickly. Now we've got space out wide. We'll attack in that space as well.
Yeah.
And they didn't. That was one of the things I think they said not on the piece that I recorded, but they weren't looking or they didn't see that or they weren't looking for it. And
Mm.
maybe that comes back to the way you coached, isn't it? You don't
Yeah.
look for things that you're
The
not.
game. It could be the game plan. I mean, to be honest, when England played All Blacks recently in this autumn series at Twickenham, the All Blacks started that way. I think they got off to a good start. They moved the ball out wide, but then they stopped
Yeah,
doing that,
yeah.
and then England actually got a foothold in. But this England version is very, very good. Now, they're playing. I remember thinking after the game when I watched it, they played a lot like the previous All Blacks played.
Yeah.
And the other interesting thing is the All Blacks always finish very strongly. Always tended to finish games very strongly and could overpower opposition. You know, they would engage the opposition so strongly in the first, I don't know, 60 minutes or so, and then the last 20, 15 to 20, they could go to town on a tired opponent, as it were. And it was England who've been adapting that approach. And I think the best proponents of that game at the moment are South Africa, absolutely playing superbly at the moment. They've added so much quality, pace, innovation, creativity in really rapid, skillful players up front. They're very difficult to play against.
Really interesting, isn't it, Keith? Because they were renowned for being a very structured, forward-oriented team, a bit
aggressive,
like
big, yeah.
Yeah, one get like real game model, focused on one game model to bully the
yeah.
opposition, to overpower them. And New Zealand always used to do well against that team, but now
And
South
now
Africa
they've
really
added
adapted.
that to it. And just quickly to link to their cricket team are doing remarkably well at the moment as well. Just
You had to
winning
get it
it.
in.
Well, it just fits with the change of culture because
Yes.
maybe there's something going on in South
Yeah.
Africa sport is that they become an incredibly resilient team.
Mm.
And they're playing very little Test cricket, but they're the World Test champions. They beat Australia, and now they've gone and won in India, which is very few people really do because of all the things that we talked about
Yeah.
earlier on in the.
Constraints, the environmental constraints make it so hard to go there and succeed.
Yeah.
I completely agree with you, Ian. So yeah, it's fascinating to watch.
Just
One thing we have on.
go on in.
I just say one thing. I don't know too much about it because I couldn't get it on the telly. But one thing that huge that's happened in the world of sport this month was the World Series in America. Did you read any of that? The baseball
No,
that went down to the overtime in the seventh game
wow,
of the Dodgers versus the Blue Jays, and the Dodgers are apparently the biggest money. Like they've got this biggest team, and the Blue
chance, yeah,
Jays got them, and they equalized with a score in the ninth innings. And eventually won it in the 11th innings of the final game.
wow.
So incredible. They're
Mm,
saying one of the best World Series of all time.
mm.
And it should have been a one-sided tournament. Like the Dodgers should have won easily. So they repeated the win. But you think of emotion. I've just made it thinking of playing under. People always talk about playing under pressure.
Yeah,
Playing like you've got a pitch and this is it. The bases are like the bases were loaded and he threw it out. He threw them to victory. But somebody had a homer to equalize the score. Incredible stuff. So very, very high level. But we probably need to bring a baseball expert on to
to
talk
discuss
more about it.
detail for sure.
And again, like looking at the coaching behind that, and I've got a feeling the Dodgers maybe are a bit constraint based in some
Mm.
of the stuff they do. But I might be wrong on that. I'll be
Poor
Although
Mrs.
then,
Renshaw. Lots of sport going on in the house.
yeah,
Yeah, Allison's golf is yeah, leading the way.
just just to go back to England, I think we definitely need to just mention like the change. So I think it's 11 game running streak as of the 28th of November. So
yeah,
2005, which
Probably
is
got away with
great.
one against Argentina though, a little bit. Argentina.
Yeah, but it's like Keith's thing, like it's that skill of knowing or learning to win and managing a game. And
yes, yeah,
I know what you're saying. I hear you, but I mean, because he was under real pressure, wasn't he, Steve Borthwick, um,
Yeah. Well, he
before
kept
this?
losing those
back
titles,
in
didn't
February,
Yeah, yeah,
February this year.
yeah.
But they lost to Ireland. It was only a couple of points they lost to Ireland, but and since that time, I mean, it's I think it's incredible coaching, really, really
Yeah.
good. The first for me, the first really good quality sign of it was when they went to Argentina and won those games in
During the
Argentina.
Lions, that
Yeah,
wasn't it,
that's
Keith?
right. It was
Yeah,
it got downplayed a bit, didn't it? Because the
yeah.
Lions tour was on.
So it wasn't even, well,
So I
you know,
think historically
subjective,
that
but sorry, it probly wasn't even the strongest team,
Yes.
no,
possibly.
but
Said a lot, yeah,
historically, when there's a Lions tour on, England tend to go to Argentina or have gone to Argentina in the past, and they've
Mm,
unearthed some young talent
mm.
because they couldn't pick the Lions players are out there.
Stack players, yeah.
it,
Now
it
the
just
depth
seems gone.
phenomenal, isn't it?
Yeah,
The
yeah. Well,
depth building.
absolutely, yeah. Well, on that point, it just seems very sort of sure about what the team is as well. So George
Mm.
Ford's sort of back in a
Oh,
fly off position,
really
and
well kicking. Yeah,
yeah,
and
where
I like the way that they will put the pressure on opposition. Opposition will defend deep, so they'll just pick off the 3 points from the drop kicks, which is some people say was a wasted opportunity because you could score a try, converted try, or whatever. But they just keep chipping away at that, so it brings the opposition, pulls them out, acts like an
yeah,
affordancy.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So yeah, really,
it's
really exciting times.
back to the early 2000s, the Johnny Wilkinson playbook. If you get in
Yes,
there, if you can't score, we'll take points and go back.
yes,
Game
Yeah,
yes,
about
yeah.
exactly.
in the end. Yeah, it's probably exciting times. Hopefully, it's a bit not like the cricket team where it's hope
Mm,
that kills.
mm.
Speaking English people,
So we
but
might not see you for a week then, Ian. Is that right?
yeah, we'll see. I'm not going. I've not got any tickets for the game, so I won't be going to the game. So
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh,
But it's
really?
complete sellout, so you can't get
Right.
wow.
tickets.
Can't get games, yeah. They can't get tickets. So you'll be able to watch it, of course, on TV.
Could do. There's another game on it. There's an Australia A game on in Brisbane at the same time that
Okay.
I might be watching instead
Okay.
for personal interest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Um, yeah.
Yeah, brilliant, gents. So it was a bit of a sporting world roundup, but and just if people haven't are not aware, we've launched our new website, so the constraintscollective.com. So go and check it out. Yeah, if you've
Mm.
not seen it already. So yeah, all good. All right, thanks,
Exciting
gents.
times. Yeah.
Yes.
Good. All right,
Thanks,
Martin.
Matthew.
Yeah, thanks for that. Cheers.
Cheers.